everyone, how are you doing today? My name is Kirsty and I wanted to end 2022 by looking at the goals that I set at the end of 2021 and see, did I actually hit my reading goals or did I have a spectacularly fail of a year? For those of you new to the channel, every year I set up a reading journal. I will leave the link above to this year's setup, 2023 setup. And in that journal, I always have a look at the stats from the previous year and think about what my reading intentions are going to be for the next year. And I have a page of reading goals. So we're just going to go through each of these goals and I'm just going to look on all of my spreadsheets and things and discover did I actually hit them or not. So these are the goals that I set for 2022 and I use a mixture of things to track these. I've got my reading journal that I track stuff in and I also use Book Roast's Core Pile rating system. Again, I will link that one below because she's just released the new version, so I will link it below and she explains exactly what it is and how it works. But the thing that I like about the Core Pile system is that it gives you loads of graphics and things to look at, and that really helps me to come up with my reading goals. So we're going to look first of all at my Goodreads reading goal, which I set at 80 books, and as you can see here I am on 88 books and I've got one more book that I need to finish on my reading sprints tonight, which if you're around, please come and join. It would be lovely to see you and we can kickstart some 2023 reading together. But as you can see, I'm currently on 88 books. I should have 89 by the end. I was kind of hoping for 90, but I don't think that's going to happen. But that means I did hit my target, but I was kind of stressing out about it by the end, and so I've lowered it only a little bit, but I have lowered it to 75 for next year, just because then it gives me a little bit more wiggle room if I have a slumpy month. And yeah, so 88 books, I did hit my goal. I hit the goal on the 27th of November, so I was stressing a little bit, but thanks to a massive catch up on some manga, I did hit my goal. And then we have like the sort of more personal to me goals and how I want to improve on my reading. I'm going to leave a little counter down here to show how many goals I did or did not hit. I have 15 in total, so we're just going to like leave that here. And yeah, you can see as they ping up whether or not I'm on track. But the first one was to read 40% LGBT. I'm going to pull up the graph here and I missed it. If I'd have read 2 more books with LGBT rep, I would have hit my goal. So I'm actually, of all of them, I think that's the one that I'm most annoyed at. But as you can see, 17% of my books have had some sort of LGBT and 15.9 have been a main character. So that only comes to 33%. So I didn't hit that one. Number 2 was I wanted half of my books to be written by a BIPOC author. I've got a horrible feeling I didn't hit this one because I just kind of was picking up books and not really looking at the authors, which I said I wasn't going to do this year and ended up doing. So let's have a quick look. I have failed on this one, but again, I'm still kind of happy with where it is. So as you can see from the graph, 42% of my books were written by BIPOC authors. To my understanding of that term, it means anyone who isn't Caucasian. So anyone who is considered to be a minority. So yeah, 42%. So I've actually done worse than last year on both my LGBT and on my POC reading. So next year, I really, really need to crack on those. Number 3, I wanted to read 10 arcs in total. I have read, I've got a horrible feeling I've failed on all of these. I've read 8 arcs this year. So again, really failed on that one. 8 arcs isn't good, and yeah. Number 4, I'm already telling you I failed. That was to read 2 audiobooks a month, and I think I've read 3 for the entire year. I just really have not been in the right mindset or mood for audiobooks, and so yeah, I just haven't read them. Number 5 is another one that I know I failed, so I'm 5 for 5 on fails here. And that is 6 Fairy Loot books, and I have read one, I believe, and that was one from about 2 years ago. And I DNF'd a couple. I have started a couple, but yeah, I also cancelled my Fairy Loot subscription at the start of the year because I just couldn't afford it after I moved out and wasn't working. So yeah, I decided to cancel it, and I am going to restart in the new year. So I definitely haven't reached that one. Number 6, I can confirm I have done, and that is to complete 3 series. And I have done that. 3 series that I've completed, 2 were new series to me, 1 was a reread. But we have the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. I finished that in January. We then had the Villain series by V. Schwab, which with Vicious and Vengeful, and I finished that I think in September or October, maybe a little bit earlier. And then last week I finished, technically it was a series, even though it's like season 1 of a series, but I finished the first arc of the Side Changeling series by Nalini Singh. So I have completed 3 series. If we're being literal, if we're being like what it should be, which is to actually finish a series for the first time. I didn't, but I need a win. So I am saying that that one was a success. Number 7 was to read 5 books that were on self-development or just generic non-fiction, and I have read 0. No, I haven't. I've read 1. I read the Botanical Folktales of Britain and Ireland. I read that, and I actually thought it was really cute and really sweet, but that is the only non-fiction that I have read this year, and I have definitely decided that next year I really want to get on and do more of that. Number 8 is to read more books that feature ADHD rep, and if I post the graph here that shows the disability reading breakdown. So one of the new additions to Corpal for 2022 was not only could you say that yes, there's disability rep, but you could also add what type of rep there was. And that was quite handy to actually look at specific things that were being represented. And I had only one book that had ADHD rep. And off the top of my head, I don't remember which book that was. Because Cafe Con Lychee. Theo has ADHD, and I thought it was really well written, and I really enjoyed it. But yeah, I've only read one book that features ADHD, and that is one more than last year, so I am going to count that, even though it's a bit of a cheeky win. So I'm on 2 successes and 6 fails at the moment. I'm doing great. Number 9 was a very personal one, and that was just to host monthly reading sprints with my friend Mel. That hasn't happened, unfortunately, so that's a fail. Number 10 was to do my board game that I created, which was a My Hero Academia themed TBR game. So some people, like you've got, I can't remember her username, but Crystal, she does ping pong, I can't remember the name of it, but she basically does, it's like beer pong, but reading book pong. Book Roast does TBR Avatar, which is an avatar-based reading game, like TBR generator. You've got Beth from Book's Nest. She does a sort of like Fictionary thing, or can't remember the name. I'm really good at this. I just watch the videos. I don't really listen to what they're called. It's really bad. But I came up with one for myself that was a My Hero Academia based one, and I said that anytime I wasn't doing a readathon, I would do a video with My Hero Academia books, and I have not done that because I'm not sure if I am going to continue doing that as a series, but I am thinking of doing like a big month-long readathon that's like all based on My Hero Academia at some point in 2023. So I'm not sure. Watch this space while I decide what the heck I'm doing with my life. Number 11 was to read 5 debut books, so 5 debut authors, and I definitely know I have hit that. I don't know exactly how many There are. It's one of the things that I kind of wish was on the core pile, is that you could tick a box that says debut author. But just looking here, so we have Only a Monster by Vanessa Len. Or have I? Oh, does The Love Hypothesis count? No, it doesn't, because that was released in 2021. Oh no. Enough by Kevin Dorman. Darling Girl by Liz Mikalski. 16 Souls by Rosie Talbot. And, oh, she's not a debut. And crap, I've only done 4. Damn it. I thought I'd done a lot more, but it turns out some of them, because a lot of arcs I read tend to be debut authors. And, yeah, I thought I had, but no, I did DNF one of them. So, unfortunately, I'm not going to count that. So that's yet another one that's going to go in the fails. Oh my God, I'm doing so great here. 12 was to keep both my Bookly and Goodreads updated. Bookly is an app that I use where you can track your reading, and when you start reading you press the timer and then you stop it, and I use it because it's interesting to see how long it takes me to read books. But Bookly is another one where I decided to not pay for this year, because even though it's only £3 a month, that's still £3 a month. So I haven't kept that one updated, but for a very good reason. But with Goodreads, I have actually been on the ball. I don't review every single book anymore, because that's where I went wrong last year. I told myself I was going to review absolutely every book, and unfortunately I fell so far behind. I found that on New Year's Eve I just spent most of the day writing like 50 book reviews. So this year I've just written reviews as I go and when I feel like it. And I found that I've been keeping way more on top of it. Storygraph, on the other hand, I'm about 6 months behind. So one of my goals next year is to keep up with Storygraph. So yeah, I've done really well at keeping my Goodreads up to date, not so well at anything else. 13 was to read 25% of my books as own voices. And again, I will put the graph up here, but I can tell you now, it's going to be another no. This was such a bad video, guys. Yeah, I've only 11% of my books were own voices. So that's another one that needs to go into. 14 was to read 10% of my books by non-binary authors. And again, only 2%. I've only actually read 2 books by non-binary authors. So again, sometimes I think maybe there are authors that are non-binary, but I didn't realise. But it's still, I haven't done as well as I would hoped. And next year again is one that I want to work on. And then the final one, I had 2 YouTube goals at the very end for my very last book. One was my kind of hard goal, which was that is the goal that I absolutely have to hit by the end of the year. And that was to reach 500 subscribers, which I hit at the start of this month after I posted my reading journal setup video. And I am so grateful because I'm almost already at 600. And I'm like, what? That's insane. And I set a soft goal of 1,000, which I knew I was going to nowhere near get. But I got closer. I did better than I thought I would this year. And considering at the start of 2022, I only had, I think, 100 and something subscribers. It was like 123. Yeah, I remember because it was 123. So I had 123 subscribers on the 1st of January 2022. And at the end of December, I now have 560 something. And that blows my mind. I feel like I've done a lot better than I was expecting to, and I'm really happy with that. So, and again, thank you all for the support. So, here's the final total. I've done so bad. 3 out of 15 goals were hit, but I did think to myself this morning when I was going to record this, I was like, well, should I record it because I've not really hit any of the goals? But then I was like, do you know what? It's actually good to do this and to show that some years, even if you've got really good intentions and you read 80 odd books, you still might struggle to hit all of your goals. Because for me this year, it has very much been a year where I have been reading for comfort and for solace. And even though I've read 88 books, a lot of those books have been like my favourite mangas or my favourite series, and I've been doing a lot of rereads this year. And so I've not really been putting as much focus on what am I actually reading, like are these own voices? And in the past I've done things where I've set a month where all I've read in a month is own voices to make sure that I'm reading more vicariously and reading more of a broad sort of area of reading. And obviously this year hasn't been. This year has been looking after myself, taking care of my heart, taking care of my brain. And I feel that now that I'm coming into January, I actually feel like I'm good. You know, I have had a rough year, but then in the last few weeks, I seem to have really boosted again. I feel really, really good. I'm feeling optimistic, and I actually feel ready and energized and inspired to do more. So, you know, I may not have hit pretty much any of my goals for this year, but I still feel good about what I did read. I still feel good about the progresses I did make. And I don't feel disheartened seeing this. I kind of just want to laugh, to be honest, because I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. But yeah, it's just to show that, yeah, I've not hit all my goals, but I'm not going to beat myself up over it. I'm just going to go, okay, we didn't hit those. Let's just look to what we're doing next year and just be a bit more mindful when it comes to what I'm reading. So yeah, I failed spectacularly, but I had a great reading year. I read more books this year than I've ever read in any other year. And I'm really, really happy with that progress because I did not expect to read 30 books, let alone almost 90. And that is insane to me. Let me know in the comments if you set yourself some goals and if you have managed to hit any or all of your goals this year. But yeah, I hope you all have an amazing new year. Happy 2023. If you are on my lives later, I'll say hi to you then. If you're not, then I really, really hope that whatever your plans are this evening, you have a fantastic night. And I will see you tomorrow in next year for my goals that I have set for 2023. And yeah, there's just so much to come and I'm really excited. I hope you're all good. I hope staying safe, and until next year, bye.